we turn to New York, where that state continues to stumble its way through the opening of a legal adult use market. The latest involves a female owned Hudson Valley company called Jenny's. Reporting by New York Cannabis Insider showed that Jenny's owner has been retaliated against by the New York Office of Cannabis Management. Not once, but twice. Last summer and fall, Jenny had tried to get OCM's attention about illegal and unfair practices that were hurting small businesses. And in a recorded phone call, an OCM official admitted to knowing about these activities, but said he would do nothing about it. When a reporter asked the official about the recording, he screamed at the reporter, quote, "I know it was Jenny," unquote. Soon after, OCM raided a dispensary, singled out Jenny's product, and issued the only recall in state history, claiming that the product was unsafe. That was not true, but it was reported in national media. And OCM wasn't finished. Just this month, another article was set to drop about the retaliation, along with multiple complaints from social equity licensees and others. And OCM conducted an unannounced inspection of Jenny's facility. This week, Damien Fagone was suspended, and Governor Kathy Hochul has embedded an advisor in the OCM office and ordered a full investigation. Sounds like a mess. New York may end up with the worst rollout of a legal adult use market. Getting it right from the beginning has been the biggest challenge of any of the new legal states. Here's one more, though, with Harry Bernstein's Ohio report.
This is Harry Bernstein with Verde Compliance Partners and the Ohio Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. While some lawmakers continue to debate the finer points, the good news is that Ohio's Division of Cannabis Control is powering forward with the implementation of the adult use cannabis program. The goal remains to award licenses by September of this year and have a fully functioning adult use cannabis market in place by the end of 2024. Division Superintendent Jim Caneva remains optimistic. The division continues to propose regulations, and he recently stated that he anticipates up to 300 dispensaries opening their doors by September 2026. The Division of Cannabis Control is doing what it can to ensure it meets this target date. Despite the inevitable political hurdles, it seems more certain than ever that Ohio adults will soon have the freedom to choose cannabis. That's the Ohio Cannabis Report for this week. I'm Harry Bernstein with Verde Compliance Partners, reporting for Weed Talk News.
The passing of the 2018 Farm Bill opened up a Pandora's box for many in the hemp community. Unfortunately, many are growing and manufacturing a product that tests more than 0.3% THC. And now Wyoming is throwing some more strict regulations on the hemp and Delta-8 industry in that state, and the industry in there is in trouble. Under the new rules that are official on July 1st, state officials will now conduct chemical analysis testing to make sure that product is compliant with the new laws. There's a new law in South Dakota too. But like so many regulations, there is some confusion on the more strict inspections of the products for that state's medicinal program. The governor there, Kristi Noem, has been making it as difficult as possible for anyone in the industry to operate. And she is no fan of the plant medicine. We know Brandon Jones is a friend of the industry, and Missouri continues to break sales records and expand their market. And here's Brandon's Missouri report.
Hey everybody, it's Brandon Jones with Be Green Distribution with Missouri Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. And that's right, the census report came out and Missouri has passed Colorado in sales. So yes, California, be ready. Missouri and the Midwest, we are consuming a lot of cannabis and finding it as an alternative way, to get off of other types of ways to deal with pain and other issues. Also, the micro licenses that we talked about last time, 15th through the 29th of April is the last time you can get applied for those second round of micro licenses, which is another reason why people from out of state are trying to get in here, is because we have so many different events where vendors can pop up and sell different ancillary products to the cannabis industry. And so we're seeing lots of different events here that are taking place. I kind of have just a little bit of a personal story. As I've talked about many times, my friend Bill was the one that got me off of opioids after my car wreck. And I actually have a piece of glass coming out of my nose right now from my wreck in 1998. And I know many people start off cannabis as the gateway drug, or at least that's through the DARE era it was called. And for me, it was an exit drug. And it was brought to me by my dear friend who later in life found that he didn't have a different way to deal with his pain. He went through depression, and unfortunately, as time happens, sometimes you fall out of contact with some friends and people that are even really close to you some parts of your time, and found out that he lost a battle with alcohol and depression, and I will be at a funeral tomorrow. So just remember, people, that reach out to those you haven't reached out to. If those are being quiet, go out and talk to them. And again, asking how they are one time doesn't really do it justice, right? You got to touch base, and make sure everybody's doing all right. So if you haven't talked to one of your friends in a while, just reach out and call someone today and say hello and just say, how you doing? Because mental health is a real thing. And I'm just glad that I was brought to this place by my friend before he got taken away from us. So please, again, I'm Brandon Jones with Green Distribution, Missouri Cannabis Report. For We Talk News, stay educated and medicated. Have a great week. Love you, Bill.
The Whitney Group is one of the most respected financial analysts in the cannabis industry. And this week, they released a market report on the future of cannabis sales in the U.S. First of Bo Whitney reports that there will be a 9% growth this year, and his Whitney Economics Group is projecting $31.4 billion will be spent. He is also projecting that by 2030, that total will increase to $67 billion sold. They did not take into account any changes in federal law. And that news, and the news on the Massachusetts side, pardons Vice President Kamala Harris's roundtable talk, and now the FDA is asking the DEA to move cannabis to Schedule 3. And all this positive news sparked some of the public companies on the stock exchange. So here's our guy who is high on Wall Street, Doug Miller.
I'm Doug Miller from High on Wall Street with this week's Cannabis Stock Report for Weed Talk News. MSO, the cannabis company, raised $25.75 million in senior secured convertible debentures. The funds will go toward debt repayment, working capital, and general operations, according to a news release. The Cannabis has completed a private placement of $19.5 million of 9% senior secured convertible debentures due in 2027. They also issued $6.25 million of notes in exchange for the cancellation of previously issued 6% senior secured convertible notes that are due in 2025. The notes mature in March of 2027 unless they are converted earlier or repurchased. So let's see how the stock chart looks. It's trading around 29 cents and it's looking good. It's crawled up through the MACD and it's ready to run. So as I always say, lock in profits on the way up and trade safely. And that's this week's Cannabis Stock Report. Reporting for Weed Talk News, I'm Doug Miller.
In a new survey in Canada, that country's legacy market is getting beat up by the legal industry. Canada has legalized adult use for 6 years. And now Statistics Canada released shows 71% of the 18 to 44-year-old market are buying legal products at dispensaries. So with more from Canada, here's Debbie Facey.
This is Debbie Facey with We Talk News coming at you with this week's Canadian strain. So what we have this week are two smaller stories, but they do make an impact here in Canada. First off, we have is Heightened Innovations, which is a cannabis company that has been specializing in not only just cannabis, but in psychoactives as well. And they have been able to receive a GMP, which is a Good Manufacturing Practice certification, in order for them to do further, I don't want to say services, but further research as well as development product. This is something that is very important when it comes to anything that is going to be legalized, especially when it comes to being FDA approved. Next, what we have is High Tide, which is the owner of one of our largest, I want to say not franchisees, but cannabis stores, which is Canna Cabana. It currently has over 166 stores here in Canada, and in Ontario we have 57. Mississauga just recently legalized dispensaries within the city, so Canna Cabana is on their third one. So this is Debbie Facey with the Canadian Strain for this week. Peace.
Coming up in the final part of this week's Weed Talk News, we'll check in with NECANN in Boston as the biggest cannabis convention in New England celebrates its 10th year, and more state reports from Arizona and Virginia. So don't go away.